Matt Wilton. Good evening and welcome, Alex Parsons, to my next webinar. Good to have you here.
Hi, Matt. Great to be here.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you speaking from tonight?
So I'm speaking from Bristol in the southwest of England.
Good. I see there's some people ticking in to be watching us here, which is nice. So, and one person, Alex, who's coming on the course, and Tiago, who's coming on the course in a few weeks, next week. So good to see them here. So, yes, so Alex, how long have you been on the Maguire program for?
I've just working this out actually, Matt, and it's coming up for almost 15 years now.
Is it? Jeez.
I know, right?
Where was your first course?
So it was 2007 in Coventry.
Okay, yes.
Up in the Midlands.
Yeah, I remember the I was running courses then, but I can't remember exactly that one, but I'm sure they all blend in a little bit together. But
oh, they really do. And sadly, I've only kept up with two people from my first course, but I remember there was 16 people that signed up
did you
to join the program. So
yeah, excellent. Well, we're here obviously to talk for half an hour or so about you and your speech. And so first of all, when can you remember when you started stammering and what it was like for you, what sort of age you were?
well, I've been told it was around the age of 4. So I think I noticed it around late primary school into early secondary school was when I became aware that I was maybe talking different from other people. But I've been told it's been around the age of 4 was when my mum and dad started to notice I was getting a lot of tension while speaking.
And so did they do anything about it straight away? Do you know?
I've been told that they signed me up to the British Association of Stammerers,
Okay.
which I think that's been rebranded, hasn't it, to just be Stammer. And my mum still tells me regularly that she was told I would be put on some sort of a list, and when they knew a little bit more, they would let her know. That's been 31 years, and they've not let her know anything since then. So,
Okay, a long waiting list it must have been.
yeah, absolutely.
So you said that you started to notice it when you were ending primary school into secondary, which I think was pretty similar to me in a way. And did it change the way that you were as a person? Did it change your personality at all?
Well, yeah, I think I'm from a small village in Devon. So primary school was 60 kids in the whole school. So that was a very accepting environment. And changing to a secondary school environment where I was someone that not everybody knew. So almost your differences are highlighted a little bit more. And I really remember a history class that we were doing readings from the book. And I was asked, no, the class was asked if anyone would like to stand up and read. And my hand was immediately up. And I had quite a bad block. And I just remember a lot of people laughing and the teacher being very startled that I had been so eager to get up and talk with a speech impediment. And I think from his reaction of him being startled that that would be something I would do, it was almost that connotation of, oh, maybe I shouldn't then. And yeah, I just remember that quite vividly. And I think a lot of people have had a very similar experience.
So you couldn't have felt very good as a young person with the other children were laughing at you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly that.
What impact did it have on your confidence then, and how did it make you feel? Can you remember?
It just made me not want to talk in class anymore, and made me not be the person who put my hand up straight away and not want to engage in those sort of speaking out loud situations where in primary school, in that comfort zone environment, I was the first one up. And I think I was given more time and accepted that that was how I spoke in that smaller community.
So going through school then, did it get worse? Did it stay the same? What was it like for you when you were going through secondary school?
I think secondary school is when you're finding out who you are. It's when you're working out your place in the world. So when you're doing that, at the same time as working out your speech and working out what gives you the trouble, what gives you the turbulence. I think it's a difficult time for anyone, but working that around a speech impediment as well, yeah, it was difficult. There was really quite tough times, and I was someone who's very overt, so there was no way of hiding that I had a stammer. I could substitute words, maybe certain words were easier, certain sounds, so certain things I could plan ahead and know if this word was coming up, I wouldn't say it. But that didn't mean that I'd in any way fooled people into believing I was a fluent speaker.
So you finished school, I presume, and did you go to university? Did you have confidence to do that, or did you get a job? What happened then?
So I was gonna do university to do percussion. So I've been a drummer since I was 13. And then I got a job working in a kitchen the summer before I was due to go up to Brighton University. And I just fell in love with kitchens. And to be fair, it was I didn't know, but I'd started washing plates in a 1 Michelin star kitchen. I knew nothing about Michelin stars or that world or anything.
Mhm.
I just thought, I'll be in the sinks, no one will talk to me, I can just get through my shift,
Yeah.
which is, again, something you probably hear quite a lot. And then I remember this really vividly. There was a chef called Leanne, and she'd run out of tortellinis for the shift. And they were rabbit, leek, and mustard tortellinis. And my understanding of food at that age was basic. I didn't know how to use a pasta machine. I didn't know what confit rabbit leg was. And all of a sudden she's gone, can you do this for me? And I went, yeah. I couldn't. But it was easier to say yes than it was to say, no, I don't know how to do that. And so that just thrust me into having to do it because I told her that I could. So, yeah, that was a life-affirming choice made on a snap decision of, I can say yes. It's harder to say no.
Mm. So what happened after that? What happened regarding work?
I got more and more involved in the kitchens. The head chef saw that I was more interested in the cooking aspect than the washing plates. And he became a bit of a mentor to me, really. And I worked with him at another 2 restaurants that he ran. And I called him up recently to thank him for pushing me with things like my speech. And he was saying, like, Alex, I just gave you the opportunity. You did everything yourself, which is really humbling, to be fair.
So when you say he did things for your speech, can you remember anything particular that helped you? And what was your speech like in those early days of working in the kitchen?
So those early days, it was still avoiding a lot of things.
Yeah.
It was still relying on people that I know would speak for me. So there wasn't a lot of confidence in my speech, where my confidence was growing a lot more in my my cooking ability.
Yeah.
That Peter was showing me a lot more of what to do in service, how to prep certain things. So that was growing a lot more, but I was still happy to hold myself back because I was comfortable being the chef in the background, being the guy who was doing all the prep but wasn't calling the orders or shouting service or talking to the waitresses or the other chefs. I was content to be kind of in the background, and that suited me where I was with my speech at the time.
So how long did that go on for then before you must have come to a point where, look, this is holding me back and I want to get more out of life. I don't want my speech holding me back anymore. Did that happen, or when
Oh,
did that happen?
absolutely. So I'd changed jobs. There was a place offering me a more senior role. So I would have had to use my voice more. And I'd had a very strong word with myself of, you've just got to accept your speech for what it is and move forward with it. Like, the important people in your life will be here because they like you for who you are. Like, you don't have to live your life for anyone else. And almost in that same week, and you're like this, Gareth Gates was on the Jonathan Ross show. And my mum and sister watched that whilst I was at work and told me about it when I got home. And I was on the Coventry course 2007 within 4 or 5 weeks of that.
Mm. You know what I was going to say when you first said in 2000, I was 7, numbers were high then, because obviously when Gareth went on the Jonathan Ross show, there was quite a lot of interest.
Absolutely.
So did you feel like you really wanted to do the program? I mean, when this came up, was it something that excited you? Were you skeptical, like I was before I joined?
I was really dubious. That I'd done speech therapy, hypnotherapy. I'd done, if it was offered to me, I'd gone for it. So I didn't know what to expect when I got on the program. And I remember my first day video very vividly with Robert Sproats asking me the questions.
Yeah.
And then that first person I sat across from on the Thursday, Terry Pycroft.
Oh yeah.
And just the more the course went on, the more it made sense. And the more my confidence grew in this technique and what it was giving me.
So can you remember specifically, like obviously the first day we do the physical techniques? I mean, did that happen quite easily for you? Was it something you got used to the breathing quite quickly, or did it take a while?
Yeah, I got used to the breathing. That made sense to me, but it was the eye contact that I remember. I've said Terry already, but I just remember him going like this.
Yeah.
And that non-avoidance of being in a completely accepted environment, that I was no longer sat across from a speech therapist who didn't have a speech impediment. I was sat across from someone who has literally walked the miles in my shoes. There was no hiding behind, you can't understand what I'm going through. It was a room full of 80 people who knew exactly what I'm going through. And then just getting engrossed in how to breathe for the technique, the psychological aspects, just from that day. And you might be able to help me with this. There was a chap called Andrew, is a policeman now, I think.
Yes, Andrew Dubignon, was it?
There you
Dubignon?
go. And
He moved to Australia, emigrated, I think.
oh, really?
Yeah.
But I just remember every single time, it was Michael Hayes doing the course. Every single time he asked for a volunteer, I just remember that guy's hand was up. I just thought,
Yeah.
if I can get to a level where that's my confidence, even in a room full of stammerers, at that point, I still thought, I'm not confident enough to put my hand up. But if I could get to a stage like Andrew, where he wants the speaking situation, then wow, like, this is the course for me.
Mm. Did you take on any speaking challenges on the course? I know I still remember my first time standing up in the lines, and my legs and my heart and the sweats, and this again in a Maguire environment where you should feel really comfortable. I mean, did you manage to face any of those challenges on the course?
Oh, absolutely. Once I got the bug for it,
Yeah.
then yeah, my hand was up. And I think when we went out on the Saturday, and obviously you know what we do on the Saturday for contacts, and you give us a goal, and I thought, I need to get more than the goal that has been set. And I felt good. I felt confident coming back into the room. And then Lewis Toombs was on the course with me as well, new student.
Mm.
And he'd done 2 more than me. And I just felt so undercut that I was like, what? He's beat me by 2. And I know it's not about that. But once, to get to a level that I felt so comfortable that I was almost competing,
Mm.
that just blew me away.
Mm. So what was the hardest part of your first course? Do you remember?
I think the hardest part was really addressing myself, realizing that there's a real dedication here in order to get to where I want to be, but also knowing that I wanted to do it.
Mm.
And I'd still tell anyone that would ask me, like, it's not easy, but the value in it is worth any effort that you have to expend to get there.
Mm.
Absolutely.
So you completed your first course and you went back home. How did you feel? And I mean, a lot of people like myself, I mean, I was on a real big high when I got back. Felt like I wanted to tell a lot of people. Gradually, the fear started creeping in a little bit, and started holding back with certain people. And I needed a support network. And I'm just wondering how you felt when you first went home, and what it was like for you.
Well, I've got 2 very important points on that. One is, I used to live down in Devon. So Coventry down to Devon, I went through Portishead, where my auntie, uncle, and cousins lived at the time. And I thought, I'll drop in on them. I'm feeling super confident. And it was only my cousin Rich who was there with his girlfriend Claire, or girlfriend at the time. And I must have sat with them and spoke for 2.5, 3 hours. Rich had been with Claire for about 2 years. And after I've just waffled on for 3 hours, she then finally got a word in, and she said, "I've never heard you speak before." And that for me was just like, the amount of times I've met her or I've been in the same room as her, and it's taken 2 years for her to hear me speak. Like,
incredible. Yeah.
that was life affirming right there. And then I've come back to Devon, and I've got a very close knit circle of friends. Bear in mind, this was 14 years ago, and I'm still friends with all of them now. And I was talking with my friend Leanne, and we were just sat in my front room, and she was sat on my lap, and we were just talking as we would normally. And I'm explaining how she can help me. She could say, cancel that if she thought I was tense on a certain word or I was blocking. And I've started using a lot of DD, so deliberate disfluency. And she's going, "Oh, cancel that." I was like, no. I've chosen to do that. And talked her through the whole program for the rest of the evening. And she sat and listened. And I still speak to her weekly now, 14 years on. And having those friends as a massive support network. But also it's my Maguire family now. It's the amount of friends I've made on the program who I'll speak to, if not daily, at least once, twice a week. There's people for if I'm feeling down and need advice, even if it's 10, 11 o'clock at night. I know there's people awake in Australia that I can call up and say, what do I do about this? Any advice? And I've done that. And it's been so well received.
So when you had turbulence, I presume you've had some turbulence, have you? Or had problems while on the program?
Yeah.
Have you had to bounce back? What have you done to bounce back from that?
So bouncing back from turbulence has just been addressing why I've got the turbulence.
Yeah.
And I was on a support group with Richard Hopkins Smith the other day. And he said, if you're having turbulence, there's something on the checklist you're not doing. And I'd never thought of it that way before. So the online courses, the intense courses are going to give us everything we need to know. It's all in the book. I have the book. So everything's in there. So if you're experiencing the turbulence, the answers are there. And it's using that support network of my primary coach, Sean Rees, other coaches I've become friendly with, to talk through, can you give me some advice on what I should be doing, because I've noticed I'm blocking on certain words. I've noticed I'm avoiding situations. Can you advise what you've done to get over this? And that lived experience I take so much more value from than someone just trying to advise me on something.
Mm.
If someone's saying, when I had turbulence, I did this and it worked, I'm listening to that a lot more.
Great. I think it's good that we're talking about this, because there is a few new people that are
Sure.
going to be joining the program next week on here, watching, listening in. And, I've emphasized to them already, it's not about the 3-day course and then goodbye. It's really about making sure that you're all in here, that you are, obviously there's times when you use the support network more than others.
Yeah.
But it is a huge part of the success on the program, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And Victoria Griffiths Price, who was also on my first course, it was about a year, 2 years ago, she did a Facebook story. And she's a course instructor, isn't she?
Yep. The school
Has been for quite a while.
Yep.
And she just did a Facebook story and she said, I'm struggling with my name today. That level of honesty, that level of stripped back realism just really humbled me into, I'm going to have those days, but it's about my attitude towards those days.
Yeah, excellent. So what successes have you had since joining the program?
So if you put it down to career-wise, then I went from the chef who hid away and wanted to be in the background to running my own kitchens, teams of 9, 10, 11 chefs, where I'm not only organizing them, but also communicating with the front of house. If anyone's seen any Gordon Ramsay cooking shows on TV, they're very fast-paced and intensive environments.
I bet. Not much time for pause, is there?
Not much time for pause, no. I still got my resist time pressures in there, but chosen where they went in. So yeah, a real measure of success there, that I was able to do something in my life which 10, 12 years ago, I would have thought, no, I'd like to do that, but that's not for me. To be in the position that I've gone, yeah, that's what I'm doing today. That's what I'm doing 6 days a week this week. Twice a day, 6 days a week for 15 years. Glutton for punishment, but when it became more about, can I do this from a management and a cooking skill, rather than can I do this because of my speech, then I knew that I'd reached a good level.
Yeah.
Which still, the support network I had, I leaned on them heavily. I was doing support groups when I was down in Devon, and it was once a month. I was getting there as often as I could. When I moved up to Bristol, and it was every fortnight, I was there as often as I could be. And before COVID, I rejoined the support groups after 2 years, and it was like I hadn't gone away.
Mm.
It's such a welcoming community to welcome me back in.
Excellent. Well, we're coming to an end.
Sure.
I've gone over a little bit. If anyone has got any questions for Alex, if you want to quickly pop them in the bar, or a question about the Maguire program, then please feel free. I've got a message from Rube here, wanting to know how he can join. Of course you can join. There's no reasons why you can't join. If you want to contact me through the Maguire website, and we can arrange to have a chat on Zoom and take things from there, really. Tiago, who's going to be doing the course next week, thank you for your testimonial, Alex, he says.
Thank you, Tiago. Absolute pleasure. I wouldn't call it a testimonial, but maybe I should. I like that.
No, it's good. And like I say, he's going to be doing the course. So it's nice for people like that to speak to someone who's been on the program.
Definitely.
And yeah, they've just to add to this, they've been really, really great in the new setup we've got online. They were both of them, Alex and Tiago, were at the meeting yesterday, meeting new graduates and getting prepared for the course. And tomorrow Wednesday they're meeting their coaches. So exciting stuff. Donna Hudson says, "You are inspirational, Alex." There we go.
Well, thank you for that. And I just want to share my story to let people know that they can one day share their story, because they'll be in a position I'm blessed to be in.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's really good to speak to you and to see you. I've not seen you and spoke to you for a while, so
Yeah, we've spoken, but maybe not seen each other. So
yeah. But it's good to good to have you on here. Next week, I'll hopefully be doing another webinar with another graduate on Monday evening. Time to be confirmed at the moment, so I shall be posting that everywhere like I have done. So we had the amazing Umara last week, and we've got Alex this week. So next week, yeah, looking forward to the third one of the 4 we're going to be doing. So thank you, Alex, and all the best.
Thank you, Matt. It's great to be involved, and I look forward to meeting everyone who's joining the program next week.
Fabulous. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Bye.